Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, that is Man at Anet. Okay, in the initial videos I have covered brachial plexus and the clinical correlation of it. Okay, so please do check it out too. Okay, in this session we are going to cover two small topics, that is the rotator cuff and the subscapular spaces. Okay, generally these questions are asked in your university exams or your preliminary exams for 2 marker. Okay, they will just directly ask you what muscles make the rotator cuff, what is the content of this particular space in the subscapular space. Okay, like the quadrangular space, what is the content of the quadrangular space, what are the boundaries of the quadrangular space. Okay, so they will ask you this type of direct questions. Okay, and you can even expect the MCQs out of it. Okay, so without wasting further more time, let's jump right into it. So starting with rotator cuff. You might ask that why is rotator cuff there? Okay, what is the need of rotator cuff? Why the nature or why our evolution has given us this particular cuff? Why is the nature has given us rotator cuff? Okay, so the answer to that question is pretty simple. Okay, what is that? That the head of humerus and the glenoid cavity, they both make the shoulder joint. Okay, that is right. But what happens in our shoulder joint is that the head of humerus is large when compared to the area that is given by the glenoidal cavity. Okay, it is small. Okay, so as to stabilize our shoulder joint, our nature has given us the rotator cuff. Okay, so to stabilize the shoulder joint, the nature has given us our very own rotator cuff. Okay, now what is there in our rotator cuff? What happens in rotator cuff is key tendons that were given by 4 muscles. First listen, then I will write it off. Okay, in rotator cuff there were 4 muscles that give off the tendon, and those 4 tendons fuse with each other to form the rotator cuff, and that stabilize our shoulder joint. Okay, as simple as that. So what is there in rotator cuff? Okay, tendon of 4 muscle fuse with each other, and of course the glenohumeral, of course with the capsule of glenohumeral joint. Okay, don't write of course. Okay, now what are these 4 muscles? Okay, I told that 4 muscles, the tendons of 4 muscles fuse with each other and with the capsule of the glenohumeral joint to give us the rotator cuff. Okay, but what are these 4 muscles? These 4 muscles are, now this is the important part for you, that what 4 muscles. Okay, these are your supraspinatus, infraspinatus, subscapularis, and your teres minor. Okay, now generally in examination the question might be just like this only. Okay, what muscles make up the rotator cuff? Okay, in very rare case it might come in 6 mark question, in very rare case. Okay, if the paper setter has a very bad fight with his wife, then they might give you the rotator cuff in 6 marker question, or else it is a 2 marker question. Okay, so in 6 marker question then you will need to draw the diagram which I am going to provide you. Okay, starting with the glenoidal cavity. Okay, this is your glenoidal cavity. Okay, and attached to the glenoidal cavity is your glenoidal labrum. Let's go with this. Okay, this is your glenoidal labrum. Okay, this is your glenoidal labrum. Now this. Okay, this particular portion, which I'm okay, this particular portion is your joint capsule. Okay, I'll label it at the last. Leave it. Okay, now if you have a joint capsule, okay, this is your joint capsule. Okay, this is your joint capsule. Now starting with the muscles. This is your first muscle, this is your teres minor. This is your second muscle, that is your infraspinatus. This is your third muscle, that is your supraspinatus. And this is your fourth muscle, that is subscapularis. Okay, now what I told you, that muscles do not make up the bloody rotator cuff, but their tendons do. Okay, so this is the tendons. Okay, okay, let me highlight it in green itself. Okay, this portion. Okay, this is your tendon that is given off by this muscles. Okay, this tendon, as you can see that there is clear demarcations between the muscles. There, here is a demarcation, here is a demarcation, here is a demarcation. Okay, you can see that there are clear demarcation between the muscles, but those demarcation do not exist between these tendons. Okay, what does this signify? That yes, it has fused. Okay, now let's just label the diagram. Starting going from inside to outside, what was this? This was your glenoid cavity. Attach this blue one to it, it was your glenoid labrum. Okay, this was your joint cavity. Okay, this is your capsule of shoulder joint. Okay, and as you can clearly see that there is a clear space between in your shoulder, in the capsule of your shoulder joint. Okay, why is there this space? Okay, this space is for the subscapular bursa. Okay, and now lastly the muscles. This was your teres minor, this was your infraspinatus, this is your supraspinatus, and this is your subscapularis. Done? Okay, so if not possible, if you cannot ratify this particular diagram, then at least do this thing. This is the most important thing right now, till right now. Okay, and remember this one too, that why is there a gap in the joint cavity of the shoulder joint? Okay, to accommodate, okay, so as to accommodate the subscapular bursa. Okay, now moving to our subscapular spaces. Okay, here you are going to address three spaces, that is one quadrangular space, and two triangular spaces, okay, which are upper and lower respectively. Okay, when during dissection, when you reflect the deltoid muscle, okay, then you will see this particular spaces, okay, after reflection of deltoid. Okay, from the subscapular spaces, you just have to remember the boundaries and content, nothing more than that. Boundaries and content. Okay, starting with just a simple diagram. Okay, in university examination, you don't have to become Da Vinci or Hussain Saab. You just have to give a proper schematic diagram just to assure the examiner that you know this thing. Okay, you know your stuff. Okay, you do not have to become a very good painter and all. Okay, so starting with simple schematic diagram, that yes, this is your scapula, okay, and this is your head of humerus, and then this is your shaft. As simple as that. Okay, just this. Then you have to show three particular muscles. What are those three particular muscles? This is your first muscle, okay, this is your second muscle, let's extend its space, okay, this is your second muscle, and this is your third muscle. Okay, now you yourself are able to see the three spaces that I was addressing. This is your first space, okay, this is your second space, and this is your third space. Okay, let's give direction first. Let's see. Okay, this is your medial, this is your lateral, this is your anterior, and this is your superior, and this is your inferior aspect. Okay, let's name these muscles. What are these muscles? This is your teres minor, okay, this is your below teres minor, you have teres major, and this is your long head of triceps brachii. This is your long head of triceps, no need to add brachii, long head of triceps. Okay, this is this is your shaft of humerus. Okay, so this is your upper triangular space. This is your quadrangular space. And this is your lower triangular space. Now in anatomy, if you just remember your diagram, okay, then you can easily make off the boundaries. Okay, by seeing this diagram, you can easily say it to me that yes, for the upper triangular space, the upper boundary, it is made up of the teres minor, the lower boundary, it is made up of the teres major, and the lateral boundary, it is made up of the long head of tricep brachii. Same for the quadrangular space, the upper boundary is made by the teres minor, lower boundary is made by the teres major, medial boundary is made by long head of the triceps, and the lateral boundary is made by the shaft of the humerus. Okay, so we will not waste our time writing those things down. Okay, but just refer to your BDC or your Vishram Singh, or if you are smart enough, then Gray's Anatomy. Okay, then refer to those books for your boundaries. Okay, I'm not gonna write those things off. Okay, what is important to us is the contents right now. Starting with contents. Okay, for the quadrangular space. Okay, you will have your one artery and one nerve. Okay, what artery is that? This is your posterior circumflex humeral artery, and your one nerve, that is your axillary nerve. Okay, so tell me the root values of this particular axillary nerve. This supplies the deltoid muscle. Okay, comment it. Okay, comment what are the root values of axillary nerve. Okay, so these two things are your contents of the quadrangular space. Okay, as simple as that. Coming to your upper triangular space. In your upper triangular space, you only have one thing, that is your one artery only. What is that artery? That is circumflex scapular artery. And last is your lower triangular space. Okay, in lower triangular space you will have again one artery and one nerve. Okay, this is your profunda brachii artery. And radial nerve. Okay, also comment the root values of radial nerve. Done. So these are your, what do we say, contents. Okay, now diagram for contents. Okay, and in this diagram I'm not gonna label the boundaries and all. Okay, I'm just gonna go with the contents. Okay, starting with your scapula, then your head of humerus. Okay, go as schematic as possible. Okay, this is your teres minor. Okay, this is your teres major, and this is your long head of triceps. Okay, done. This is your first space, this is your second space, and this is your third space. So what I told in the upper triangular space. Okay, this is your upper triangular. If you can see, this is your upper triangular space. Okay, in this upper triangular space, this is your circumflex scapular artery. Done. Now moving off to the quadrangular space. In quadrangular space, you have your posterior circumflex humeral artery and you have your axillary nerve. Okay, posterior circumflex humeral artery and this is your axillary nerve. Okay, and lastly your lower triangular spaces, you have your radial nerve that is going into the radial groove. If you remember, I didn't teach you, but if you know, radial nerve, and along with that what do we have? Profunda brachii artery. Okay, so this was all about it. Okay, so we went through the spaces, that was your subscapular spaces or your intermuscular spaces. Okay, and some might refer this to as scapulohumeral spaces too. Okay, scapulohumeral spaces. Okay, and some also refer this rotator cuff as musculotendinous cuff. Okay, so when you see in your exam that what tendons make up the musculotendinous cuff, then don't get yourself too pressurized or overthinking. Okay, I have not studied this particular musculotendinous cuff, I have studied a rotator cuff, I don't know about it. Okay, don't just think too much about it, these are the same thing. Okay, so thank you, I don't know what to say now. Okay, thank you for studying from me.